DETV News is sponsored by Newcastle County Government.
A former police officer pleads guilty to beating an innocent injured victim.
Plus, Governor CARNEY seeks disaster aid for Hurricane Ida flooding.
And HBCU week is coming up. We'll fill you in on the details. Those stories, along with local sports and weather, coming up. Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Lauren Wilson.
And I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for being with us today. An incident over parking tickets has landed the city of Wilmington in federal court. It started when Amira Shahid received 6 tickets in 9 days on a car she says was legally parked. While she was waiting an appeal, her car was towed and the city demanded payment in full. When Shahid, a disabled grandmother, couldn't pay the $320 ticket fee, the towing company scrapped her car. She's now out $4,000, the car's value, and also owes $580 in tickets because of added penalties.
This is something that the city of Wilmington has to answer for. They have to be held accountable for their actions. They have to right their wrongs and make everything right.
Calling cases like Shahid's outrageous, lawyers from the Virginia-based Institute for Justice filed the federal lawsuit alleging Wilmington's towing and impound system is unconstitutional. The suit claims Wilmington outsources its impound system to a towing company which it empowered to wrongfully take and keep people's cars. According to lawyers on the case, Wilmington pays nothing for the towing, and the company earns money by keeping and scrapping vehicles. The lawsuit challenges the impound system, saying seizing property without warrant violates constitutional rights, and losing a car over parking tickets is, quote, grossly disproportionate.
Ultimately, nobody should lose their car because of a few parking tickets.
A spokesman for the city said they received the lawsuit Wednesday. Indications are the response will be handled in court.
A former Dewey police officer pled guilty Wednesday for beating an innocent injured person and then lying to the court to try to have that person jailed. Gregory Lynch pled guilty to felony perjury and misdemeanor assault. He'll serve 1 year of intensive probation and will have to give up his certification, which bars him from ever serving as a police officer again. He'll also not be able to carry a gun. Documents show an unaggressive person injured in a fall tried to get off a stretcher when Lynch climbed on top of him and repeatedly punched him in the face. The blows were reportedly so forceful, blood splattered onto the uniforms of other officers at the scene. Lynch then dragged him to an ambulance by his head. The victim suffered a concussion, a broken nose, and multiple cuts to his face. Lynch falsely claimed in a sworn affidavit the victim had committed strangulation and 2 counts of offensive touching of a law enforcement officer. Reports indicate he told fellow officers, "That's what I do when they don't comply. Make them felons." Lynch's lies came to light days later when authorities at the scene came forward to tell the Attorney General's office the truth.
Governor John CARNEY requested a presidential disaster declaration for Newcastle County weeks after remnants of Hurricane Ida swept through northern Delaware, causing massive flooding that damaged more than 160 properties. Initial estimates for individual assistance are over $920,000 for housing such as property repairs and replacements from flood damage, and nearly $195,000 for other individual needs. While no buildings were destroyed, 233 homes sustained either major or minor damage or were in some way affected by the flooding. Of those homes, state officials say only 10% were insured. Officials estimate $2.5 million in damages to public infrastructure, culturally significant private nonprofits, and costs related to emergency protective measures. The public areas impacted included Hagley Museum, where floodwaters spilled onto portions of the historic Powder Yard, and Brandywine Park, which suffered extensive damage, according to CARNEY.
Authorities are investigating an attempted carjacking in the parking lot of the Fairfax grocery store in North Wilmington Wednesday morning. State police say a 68-year-old woman was confronted by a man who demanded her keys when she returned to her car. The woman tried to walk away, but the man persisted. The woman screamed, ran back to her vehicle, and was able to drive away. Anyone with information regarding this attempted carjacking is urged to contact Delaware State Police.
Fire ripped through a row house in Wilmington, killing 2 men who were trapped inside. It happened here on the 1000 block of Clifford Brown Walk shortly after midnight Tuesday. 2 firefighters were injured battling the blaze. 3 men managed to escape. Firefighters say flames made the stairs unstable, trapping the men on the 2nd floor. Neighbors watched in horror as they saw the burning house being destroyed while the victims screamed from a window, but there was nothing anyone could do to help.
In other news, Boxwood Road in Wilmington will now be the home of the largest Amazon facility in the entire country. DETV News was among those who got a sneak peek at the state-of-the-art facility. It's 3 times larger than the Amazon site in Middletown. Inside, the mega warehouse is filled with robots that move products for miles every day from one location to another. Amazon will send products to the warehouse where they will be stored and packaged for customers on conveyor belts in the 5-story building. 500 people have already been hired to work at the new warehouse, with 500 more expected to be hired by the end of the year.
In other news, some frightening moments were reported inside the Concord Mall last weekend. A shooting left a 22-year-old Chester, Pennsylvania man wounded, and the suspect still on the loose. Shoppers say it happened inside the H&M clothing store where a large group was gathered, and that's where gunshots were fired. Delaware State Police confirmed the shooting victim was taken to an area hospital. The criminal investigation continues with no information on the suspect. Anyone who does have information is urged to contact Delaware State Police. Delaware's political landscape is in for a major change, with 3 lawmakers already saying they won't seek re-election next year. Democrat David Bentz, a state representative from Christiana, is the latest to say he's calling it quits to spend more time with his family. Representative Gerald Brady, another Democrat, announced he won't seek re-election after fellow politicians and residents called for his resignation after he used an anti-Asian slur and made light of human trafficking in an email that was accidentally sent to the wrong person. And Republican Ernie Lopez from Lewis also will not seek re-election. In a state as small as Delaware, a shift in seats could mean a shift in power or progressive policies. But right now, those watching the races say it's just too early to tell. Here's your weekend forecast as we go to break. Stay with us. You're watching DETV.
Accident, medical negligence, work injury. Contact Team Tice, your Delaware personal injury lawyers. Leroy Tice in Wilmington, Delaware, serving and supporting the people of Delaware. Call 302-489-2400. That's 302-489-2400. Online at teamtice.com.
Welcome back. Wilmington's 5th annual HBCU Week begins Sunday and will continue through Saturday, October 3rd. HBCU Week was launched in 2017 under the leadership of Wilmington Mayor Mike Przicki to expose local high school students to the history, pride, and academic offerings of historically Black colleges and universities. Since 2017, participating HBCUs have granted more than 3,000 admission opportunities to local students and have awarded more than $18.5 million in scholarships. This year's HBCU Week promises to be as successful, featuring a two-day, first-ever combined in-person and virtual college fair, a panel discussion with Delaware State University's President Tony Allen, and coverage by the ESPN First Take show with Stephen A. Smith. Also planned is a 5K walk-run, an HBCU happy hour, a comedy show hosted by Wanda Sykes, and an R&B concert, and the return of the highly popular HBCU Battle of the Bands, and much, much more. For tickets or to register for any of the events, visit www.hbcuweek.org.
11th and 12th grade students in Wilmington are being offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if they're interested in drones or virtual reality computer technology. Both are popular with teens and are growing career opportunities. Mayor Mike Przicki announced a partnership with entrepreneur Theo Nix Jr. Under the program, 10 teens will be selected to be a part of a drone class, with another 10 for the virtual reality courses. Those who successfully complete the course will have a chance at 6 12-week paid internships. The city will hold informational sessions for interested students at the William Hicks Anderson Community Center on September 23rd, 28th, and October 5th, each beginning at 6:30 p.m.
Well, some crafters will be happy to learn a popular national retail store, Hobby Lobby, is preparing to open its first location in Newcastle County, while others won't. The store will be located at University Plaza off of Route 273. It's the second Hobby Lobby to open in Delaware. The first location is in Dover. The store, led by conservative Christian founder and CEO David Green, has a long history of scandals. In 2012, Hobby Lobby filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government for the right to deny contraceptives to its employees in the company's health care plan. 2 years later, in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Hobby Lobby's right to withhold reproductive benefits, determining private companies were allowed to be exempt from the law based on religious preferences. The ruling led to widespread protests and rallies around the country.
The popular Firefly Music Festival in Dover has started today. The 4-day event, normally held in the summer, was postponed to September due to the pandemic. This year's headliners are expected to bring big crowds, but with big crowds come extra COVID precautions. This year, festival goers must bring proof of vaccination. Now, if you're not vaccinated, you must bring proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours of the festival. Firefly is known for bringing people from all over the country to Dover. Each year, Kent County sees a boom in visitors, and all 3 counties in Delaware see the economic benefits thanks to the festival.
And on Saturday, hundreds of walkers put on their sneakers for a good cause and raised more than $120,000. DETV was there.
Today is the 35th anniversary of AIDS Walk Delaware. It was about 35 years ago that in Rodney Square was the first walk. It was more of a march and more of a protest to bring awareness to HIV and AIDS and get the community involved. And 35 years later, AIDS Delaware and Delaware HIV are still carrying on the walk and the tradition and raising money for to support the 3,600 and some people in Delaware living with HIV. We also had Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester here. We had Matt Meyer, and we also had Senator Sarah McBride. And they gave very inspirational speeches, and it's nice to see that we have the leadership behind us and the community behind us. For more information, you can go to AIDSWalkDelaware.org.
We're going to take a quick break. Nick Alessandrini is coming up next with the latest in sports, so stay with us. You're watching DETV News.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Welcome back to DETV News. I'm Nick Alessandrini. Week 2 of high school football is in the books. Some shakeups, some fantastic games last week, and a lot to look forward to this weekend. We'll start with some of the big games from last week and begin with maybe the biggest regular season football game of the year so far and maybe the future between Smyrna and Middletown in the Harvest Bowl. Both teams ranked number 1 and number 2 in Class 3A, and a crowd of over 4,000 at Smyrna for the Harvest Bowl. And those who showed up, they saw a great performance by both teams. The game was tied at the half 14-14, but it was Middletown that would finish strong in the 28-14 win. Some other matchups from week 2 include Tatnall hosting their annual Friday Night Lights game, but Wilmington Friends would play spoiler. Friends scored on their first drive when Rob Tattersall hit Jaden Willie in the flat for a 10-yard touchdown pass, and Tatnall's defense was able to keep Friends off the scoreboard the rest of that quarter, but late in the second quarter, Friends would strike again. Friends gets back-to-back shutouts and improved to 2-0 on the season with a 35-0 win over Tatnall. Then we had a shootout down at Cape Henlopen between the Vikings and William Penn Colonials. Colonial quarterback Jacob Tiberi threw 5 touchdown passes, and 4 of them went to Tavion Squirrel. Trailing by 16 points, William Penn scored the final 30 points of the game to get the victory. Both teams combined for 761 yards of total offense, and Squirrel caught 5 passes for 140 yards and 2 scores. Some other scores from the week: Dover got the win over St. George's 21-14. Sussex Central gets a big win over Hodson. They rebound from the loss to Sally's 35-6. And Woodbridge takes down St. Mark's in a battle of top 5 teams in 2A 30-22. And once again, due to the lack of football officials, once again this week, we have 3 high school games scheduled for tonight. Dover will try to stay hot when they visit Cape Henlopen tonight at 5 p.m. Mount Pleasant Green Knights visit AI DuPont tonight at 6. And Cesar Rodney will visit Smyrna tonight at 7. Now for some volleyballs. There were some big games on the volleyball court this week as well. A number 1 and number 2 matchup in St. Mark's and Padua, and another top 5 matchup between Wilmington Friends and Wilmington Charter. We'll start with the Quakers, who earned a hard-fought win 3-2 over the force of Wilmington Charter. Abigail Carrion had 27 kills and 10 digs, while Noreen Robinson recorded 16 kills and 15 digs for the Quakers in the victory. The Spartans, they remain the top-ranked volleyball team in the state. They get a 3-0 sweep of number 2 Padua back on Tuesday. An electric atmosphere at Padua, but it would not slow down the Spartans. Julia Yurkovich finishes with 12 kills and 7 digs. Maya Lewis added 15 kills, 11 digs, and 12 assists in the Spartan victory. And before we get to our top plays a little bit later on, we had some NBA news and NFL news yesterday. And according to Adrian Wojnarowski, Philadelphia 76er Ben Simmons will not report to training camp next week, and he says he has no plans to play another game in a 76ers uniform. The disgruntled former number 1 overall pick wants a trade out of Philadelphia and plans to sit out and rack up those fines until he is moved. Simmons is coming off an Eastern semifinal series loss to the Hawks, where he averaged 10 points and 9 assists per game. And speaking of Philly, we'll stick with the Birds as they will look to rebound this week, but they're going to have to wait until Monday Night Football. The Eagles will travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys following that tough loss at home to the Niners last week. In that loss, the Birds lost 2 starters, one of their leaders on defense, Brandon Graham, to an Achilles injury, and former Pro Bowl guard Brandon Brooks with a pec injury. The Eagles-Cowboys is set for Monday night at 8:15 on ESPN. And now time for top plays of the week. We've got 3 great ones for you this week. It's going to start with Rob Tattersall from Wilmington Friends. You heard about his night earlier. Well, here's that blocked punt for a touchdown. 21-0 in the ball game here as Tattersall blocks it, scoops it up, and takes it himself. Rob Tattersall for the Quakers, 1 of 3 touchdowns on the night for the quarterback. On to number 2, Marquis James and Mark Ewing. These are both opening kickoff for touchdowns. Up first, it's William Penn and Cape Henlopen. Here's James going to catch it at the 20, follow his blockers, see some space, and just going to take off, show the speed up the middle. Nobody going to touch him. He's going to go 80 yards for the opening kickoff for the touchdown. First points on the board and that one. And then Mark Ewing here for Archmere, going to have it, and check out this camera angle. He'll catch it deep in his own territory, make a move, make a few guys miss, break some tackles, and now he's going to reverse field. Check out the speed on number 84 in white, trying to get to the sideline. One more defender misses. He's there, and then it's all speed the rest of the way. Great blocking on the kick return touchdown for Mark Ewing from Archmere. And to our top play of the week, an amazing save from volleyball. This is Wilmington Friends. You can check the names out there. Check out this play. It's Padua and Archmere going at it. Back and forth they go. You see the ball, and then going to be saved right there. Double hit, triple to the back, and check it out in slow motion. This is going to be your top play of the week. How are they able to keep that ball alive? No idea, but they get the point. And what a play there at number 1. And that'll do it for sports this week, as well as top plays. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more DETV news right after this.
As soon as I got here, I just felt the warm embrace of the community, man. Like, what y'all got going on is wonderful. And no wonder y'all called the work group, because y'all putting that work in. For real, seriously, y'all getting the work done.
We are committed to creating the best Riverside we can with the community, for the community.
Welcome back. It was a beautiful day for a beautiful cause in Townsend Monday when about 80 golfers, many of them high-ranking law enforcement officers, gathered for the 3rd annual Corporal Stephen J. Ballard Charity Golf Tournament, organized by the Delaware chapter of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, known as NOBLE. All proceeds benefit the Delaware State University Scholarship Fund in Ballard's name. Something Ballard's widow Louise said he would be pleased to hear.
For me, it's about community, it's about giving back, all of the things that my husband liked to do for the students.
Corporal Ballard was killed in the line of duty back in April of 2017 when he approached a suspicious car in a Wawa parking lot and that driver opened fire. Friends and former colleagues remembered Ballard fondly.
It's a very special event. Corporal Ballard was a good friend of mine. He's a beautiful person, beautiful smile, lights up a room, and it's just a great event to be out here, in his honor.
The 6th annual Chess on the Square tournament was held in Wilmington last weekend, and a good time was had by all. Take a look.
We have our 6th annual Chess on the Square tournament. It has been relocated at the barbershop next to BVD Barber Salon. This is our 6th time doing it, and we just realized it's needed. It's fun, and remember always, chess is life. So we want to stress that everybody should learn this game, everybody should play it.
This is our 3rd, 4th time here, I think. We're excited that it's happening again. It's great to have the kids out here playing chess over the board instead of sitting at the computer, so very excited.
And we're here today because of BVD brings on this tournament for everybody to play.
Chess gives you that opportunity to think about your moves on the game, number 1, but moves in life. If you follow those strategies on that 64 squares, 32 pieces, use those moves, you can use those moves in life and become a better person, a better successful person. And definitely mathematics plays a part of it. Me being a math teacher, definitely want to stress that to all my students that I teach. Learn chess, it'll help you with mathematics also.
In other news, the annual Blue Mass to honor those who serve the community in public safety, including police, fire, EMS, and military, will be held Friday, October 1st at 11 a.m. at St. Elizabeth Church on Cedar and Clayton Streets in Wilmington. First responders and military are encouraged to attend. The Mass will also be live streamed on the Diocese of Wilmington's YouTube channel. The service is a Catholic Mass, but those of other faiths are welcome to attend, either in person or via the live stream, to pray for those who risk their lives for the sake of public safety.
And reggae music lovers will be glad to hear the annual People's Festival tribute to Bob Marley returns to Tubman Park on Saturday, October 2nd, offering a free, family-friendly day filled with good music, international foods, arts and crafts from all over the world, wine tasting, and much, much more. Bob Marley, a reggae superstar, made Wilmington his first American home in 1966. He lived, worked, played, and wrote some of his great hits before moving to Miami. In 1993, friends of the late singer followed his mother's desire to host a tribute to her son in Wilmington. The first Marley tribute was held in 1994 in Frawley Stadium. Organizer Jenny Pitts said many still don't know of Marley's connection to Wilmington.
The connection is real. It's rooted here. He wrote songs about his time in Wilmington that people all over the world sing. The night shift, working on the forklift, on the night shift. That's Wilmington.
And finally, Ellesmere resident Ray Fermani marked his 100th birthday this week with a senator and a retired general who helped him celebrate. Fermani was a World War II co-pilot. He earned a Distinguished Flying Cross Award for extraordinary heroism and an induction into the Delaware Aviation Hall of Fame. U.S. Senator Tom Carper came in person to give Fermani a letter he wrote along with Delaware's federal delegation. Fermani in turn presented the senator with a book about himself called Against All Odds, the Ray Fermani Story. Retired General Frank Vavala, also from Ellesmere, was there to wish Fermani well, along with several lawmakers. Happy birthday, Lieutenant Fermani, from all of us here at DETV.
Now that's the way to cut a cake.
I love that. That's great, right?
That is great.
Happy birthday.
That's our report for this week. Thanks for watching DETV News.
Stay well, and we'll see you next time.
DETV News is sponsored by Newcastle